Now, one thing artists look to do out the gate is, I want to tour. I want to tour. So when I hear this question, like, you have the old way and then you have what my business is, Concert. And if you look at the old way, how you had to tour, I've said this many times before, you had to either have some type of deal or have some type of, like, a lot of followers online. And in the past, you had to just know, you either had to know bookers, you had to know all the bookers, you had to have that buzz that you knew all the bookers and the bookers would want to book you and they knew you were going to bring people, or you were kind of just stuck. I've been in a space of, prior to the internet being crazy, like going from venue to venue and figuring it out. And I've actually even paid for the venues, and then paid for the venues because I knew I could make the money off the top. Like I could keep the door. And so I didn't even use a booker because it was so biased. It was so biased in my day that it was like gatekeepers that would just not let you get any. They wouldn't book you just because I don't like you, because they don't like you. They'll be like, "Hey, well, I roll with this team, or I hang with these people, so I'll never book this kid." And so I would go and book my own shows myself. I would go to the venue and I'd actually pay for the venue. And I just knew how many people I'd be willing to bring. So I was in that grind. Um, these days, of course, you can make yourself look a certain way online, and some of these bookers will pick you up and give you a try. Now, the thing that sucks about this is, and this is what I warn people of, is that when you make that look online and you make those vanity metrics look the way they look, you got to think that if you don't show up and show out and people don't want to come see you, they're never going to book you again. So all these vanity, and this is why I tell people, don't focus on these vanity metrics. As I said in one of my other ones, people always come to me and say, how can I playlist, and how can I how do I use these ads and all this stuff like that. If you don't have real fans and you have all this internet excitement around you, but nobody is willing to come see a show, you will kill yourself. You will kill your own career, because the bookers will not book you again. They will not book you again if you go and say it looks like this. I have 10 million followers, and you lied or anything like that, and people don't come out. They will not book you again. So if you're doing it that route now, as my app grows, that's what my app is all about. My app is about helping artists get shows, helping artists build their own tour themselves, so they don't need all this other stuff. So with my app, um, I'm not in every state yet. However, we're growing to get into every state, so then these opportunities are available. Currently, I'm in Colorado right now, and I'm in multiple cities, so then artists can actually tour around their own cities. Now, this is one thing. Let me touch on that, because a lot of people say a tour is only when you're going from state to state, state to state. That doesn't make sense. A tour is when you go to another market that can have different consumers in it, and they also want to see you in that market. So when I was in my career, I had 10 stops just in Colorado alone, and all different people just in Colorado alone. I know there's a lot of other states that are even stronger than that. If you look at places like Texas and California and places like that, where they have tons of different stops, and you will never see the same person twice. So all these people have not heard your music, and all these people should get a chance to hear your music, and they might enjoy your music. So I had 10 stops alone in Colorado. So that to me is a tour. Anyone can believe what they want to believe. 10 stops is 10 stops, 10 different venues, tons of different people. Those are tours, and that's what it's all about. So how do I do that? When I'm in the app, what I'm doing is I'm building my fan base. I'm going and I'm doing shows, and I'm starting at 15 fans. Maybe if I'm just starting the game, starting at 15 fans, getting myself to 30 fans so I can be a real, like, opener, real good opener in tons of different places. Then I'm getting myself to 50 fans so I can be a headliner, and I'm replicating this in every other city. I'm doing that exact same thing in every other city. And as I start to build from 15 to 50, and then I do 15 to 50 in the other city, I'm going online, I'm finding fans everywhere. And that's what I'm starting to build in each city, so I can create that. So then when I go, like, hey, I'm popping in Denver. I'm popping in Denver, and there might be this kid and he's popping in Scottsdale. Then I can say, hey, let's swap shows. Like, I'm trying to get my first 15 fans out there, and you're trying to get your first 15 fans out here. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna come out there and you help me get my first 15 and I'm gonna help you get your first 15 out here or your first 30. And then you can come out here and constantly start doing shows. And then you can build yourself to be a headliner out here just like you're a headliner out there. And then as I start doing that in different cities, and I know who the person is in the city because I'm on the app. I'm on the app and I know who's doing the shows. So I know who's the man over there. I know who's the man over here. So then I got, or who sounds like me that's the man over there. And so I go like, and this is for all music. This is for people who might be doing rock. This is for people doing rap. This is for people doing country. This is for people doing everything. So then I'm just paying attention to the other dudes doing those same things in the other cities. And then I say, hey, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to build my first 30 fans or whatnot. And then I'm able to go there consistently. Then I'm building a tour because if I open for him over here, him over here, him over here, and I come back and be a headline over here, that's a tour. Next time I might be headlining multiple places. And then after that, I'm headlining in all of those places. But then I'm finding new places that I'm go open in and I'm expand from there. And that makes it easy with this app that you can actually build that situation and actually go through it. And to people who are in certain circumstances with whether it's labels or whatnot, or management or anything like that, of course, through my app, I'll be building a white label so you can white label your tour straight through. And you can go like, I know these artists that are dope in these areas. These is who gonna open up for me, and I'm gonna come through. All you gotta do is use that. That's the goal. That's how you tour. This is the truth of how you tour. And so it's not the prehistoric way of having to get a booker to do this for me. And if they don't like me, they're not going to book me because I don't make the most money for them, or I'm not friends with them, or I don't hang with another artist that they hang with, or I have to be on a label to get on this tour, or I have to even do it, or you even have to do what I did and go buy every venue yourself. You don't have to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? In this app, you sell tickets. You sell tickets to your fans. That's what it is. You can start as low as 15 and be like, hey, I'm doing 15 over here. I'm trying to do 30. You know what I'm saying? So then the cost, your overhead is being paid for by your fans. Your fans that are helping you build your career so you can start making enough income. That's you reinvesting into yourself because your fans are paying you to come see you, and you're paying for your slots based on those tickets that they're paying for. And that's how you invest in yourself as a business. That's how you do it. That's how businesses do. When businesses make their first money off of whatever people who are their consumers that are buying their product, they take that and reinvest it into the product. They've reinvested into the product, reinvest into the product, and that's what you're doing. You're building those shows, and you're going to reinvest into the product, reinvest into the product, reinvest into the product. So that's how you tour, and especially through this app that I've created, which is the Qoncert app. You can do this consistently, and you can start building a tour. You start building a tour in places that you can control. And that's one thing I tell people all the time. Do not start building your tour and be like, hey, I live in Denver and my first stop is New York. This does not make sense because the way consumers see you now is their attention span so small right now. If you go to New York one time, they're going to forget you within 2 months. And that's lucky if you can make it 2 months. That's lucky if I still think about you 2 months later. More than likely, it might be a couple weeks or whatever. But at least in places that you can be there again in the next month, or in the same, or in the next month, or in the next quarter, or something like that. You can at least constantly stay on their mind. You can stay in front of your consumer. The goal of all businesses is to stay in front of the consumer. That's why they do commercials. That's why they are on every street with a big ass sign, because they need to stay in front of the consumers all the time. And that's your goal because you have consumers. You have fans. These are your consumers. So you're supposed to stay in front of them online, and then you're supposed to come out there and give them what they want, which is that performance. They want to be entertained. They want to escape through your shows. So then you want to be able to come out there all the time to keep them happy. So then you got to look at places that are close, places that you can constantly afford to go to. Because if you're trying to fly to New York from here, you're looking at like a $400-$500 ticket. So then you want to be able to get back and forth. If I'm in Colorado and my stops are Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, like I'm looking like 2 hours. And like I used to get up to what I used to say is 8 hours in every direction. 8 hours in every direction. You can go 8 hours in every direction, and then you can always, worst case, if you can't even find like an Airbnb or anything, you can drive home. You can get back home. That's the goal. You can get back home. Worst case, anything happens to you, you can find your way home. And that was the goal, is as long as you within 8 hours, you can afford to get out there and you can afford to get back. because all that takes is like maybe like what two tanks of gas, maybe not even two tanks of gas. Like that might be, yeah, it might be two tanks of gas at most. So you're looking at your overhead being two tanks of gas in a hotel. And that was the goal, you know what I'm saying? Some food on the way, and you can pack your food. So then look, that's all you need to do. And that's the grind. That's the grind to start touring. And it ain't as glamorous maybe as what you see these top artists do, the French Montanas and the NBA young boys. It ain't as glamorous as that, but these dudes are the top 1% in the world. There's 30 million artists, and only less than 1% of them make over $40,000 a year. So that tells you these dudes that's making these millions is even less than 1%. So then, yeah, it doesn't look like that, but then this is the grind to get you there. This is the grind to make sure you can actually live off this, and this can be your day job. That's the goal of this, is to tour like that. I don't see it in the idea of I'm just touring a tour. I'm touring to live like this consistently for the rest of my life, or however long I want to be in this music business. So that's how you tour. Make sure you go get this app. Make sure you go get the Qoncert app with a Q. You'll see it, download it, start doing what you do. Start doing what you do. And if I'm not in your state, if I'm not in your state yet, then you just start sending it. You just start get it to other people. Get it to other people. Make sure they on there, because see, this is the thing. As long as we work together as a community, it's easier for you to start crossing over to these other states. Because if you and the dudes that do music in your state say, hey, I want to be on a Qoncert app, and then I can start putting shows there, because then we have enough buzz in your state, then I already have the other state. Then y'all can start mixing and crossing over, and that can make it so they can come here, and you can come here, and they can come there. And that's the quickest way to this. We work together and we make it happen, and that's how everyone can tour and everyone can start doing their thing.